Welcome to your weekly dose of the Ultimate Sales Machine. I am your host, Amanda Holmes, CEO of Chi. The next few episodes are a series of conversations we had during the Q&A of our challenge. Real live questions from business owners and executives just like you on how to get up to 9 times more clients in the door so you can double your sales. You still have the opportunity to get your ticket of the Ultimate Sales Machine Bootcamp to help you redefine that stadium pitch, build out your Dream 100 campaign, and set in place the momentum to be able to double your sales over the next 12 months. Visit USM, like Ultimate Sales Machine, chetholmes.com/bootcamp. That's usm.chetholmes.com/bootcamp. Okay, here's the episode.
And so the question is, when you're learning these sales tactics, a lot of it is for enterprise size. So how do you pare it down and give yourself a stair-step approach to really building that foundation for your sales processes so that you can grow into hiring a sales team or hiring people for sales?
So let me just give you one framework that really helps. If you're feeling
Okay.
overwhelmed, which many micro businesses are, even all business owners are, this is a really simple framework. You'll see it on the screen. So step number
Mhm.
one is we just have to get very clear on what your goal is. How much do you want to grow? How many clients do you want to bring in? And by when? Then who do we need to work with to accomplish that goal the fastest? So if you're a one-man show, then how can you get in front of one person that gets you to many? So what's your dream? Then what's the message that we want to get to? And then how frequently do we get that message out and where? So this is when you start to feel overwhelmed, I always come back to this framework. And if you can just do it yourself, write it on a piece of paper. So what's in the first square? What's your goal? And the second visit, third square, what's your stadium pitch? And then in the fourth square, which mediums are you reaching out to and how frequent? So maybe if you say, okay, I want to grow by 20%, my Dream 100 is associations in my general area. There's 12 of them. I know that I can educate them about marketing because that's what I'm great at and getting them more people to their associations. That's something I can talk to because it's in my wheelhouse. And then I'm going to reach out to them once a month because more than that probably would overwhelm me. And where am I going to reach out to them? I'm going to call them and I'm going to email them. So if we just have a very clear understanding of where we're trying to get to, who, what, and where. Does that help a little bit just to get a framework to keep coming back to? Rick, you look very focused.
Oh, I was gonna grab him too.
What's going on?
Oh, Amanda, just what I said to you before. It's just disappointing that I learned about this in PEQ, and that was recorded on right before September 11th. And I wasn't at it live, but I was a part of the on demand recordings. And so I'm just overwhelmed. It's just disappointing that I didn't stick with this and follow through with this over the years and just trying to determine what my next step is. I'm a productivity coach for other real estate agents, and it's very simple. You put me in front of them and I become the magic maker, the breakthrough artist for them. But it's hard when I'm so far into the forest, it's hard to see the trees for myself.
That's it for everybody. That's why I love the boot camps because then everybody gets to be there for one another. Rod keeps raising his hand. There's
I
something.
have one more question. So I'm stepping in one of my clients, they're the TV company, TV, and I'm working with their advertising agency that they've been working with, and I'm reshaping everything that we're doing to be story based instead of straight e-com advertising.
Yeah.
And wonder about suggestions that, because I've heard about this and I've thought about it so many different ways, but I'd love your opinion and maybe Troy too. How do you change people's minds from being facts and figures to being story based? Because there's a lot of things that I do and say, but I'm just wanting to hear how you help that along.
There's a whole framework around how we use market data to make it relatable to other people, right? And then it's very interesting. We have people that come in and say, I know my marketplace. I've been selling to them for 30 years, and this is what they're like, and this is what they think. And then when we do the data dive, very often we find that they're wrong. They really don't know what's going on. Even just something as simple as surveying the people that you currently already work with and finding out what are their pain points? Why did they come to this particular company? What's going on for them? What's happening in the, especially with ecom, right? We just don't get so much interaction from them. The first dive, the first dive I would say is who's already their clientele and how can you pull more information from them to understand what's going on for them? And then supplement that with more research to just get that backdrop to be able to know how to weave those stories. And when you have a story that can be backed, I tell the story of when I keynote, I tell the story of after my father passed and the grief that I went through was just vicious. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I tell very vividly the stories of me sleeping out of my car, even though I had a place to stay. I was just so wrought with demons in my head and these nightmares of my father's face in the hospital. And I tell that story, but then I back it up with saying, and I know I'm not alone because 1 in every 2 women today is going to get diagnosed with cancer in the United States, and 1 in every 3 men is diagnosed with cancer. So I know that many of you out there have experienced something similar to me because it was traumatic, right? And then because of that piece of data, I instantly gain legitimacy and they feel, oh my God, yeah, she said it. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of people that are experiencing this and it's not just me. And I feel a little better. And I can see, I watch their shoulders go down after me saying something like that to validate their pain.
Yeah, and I think more of what I'm wondering is how to have the agency that I'm working with, how do I help them understand that it's story based rather than just straight, here's a picture, create an ad that says 50% off or 20% off, right? $50 off, whatever it is. Because they're doing $20 million a year. So it's fairly successful, but he wants to double, and he's not going to double with doing the same thing over and over.
If they're marketers, right? Let's A/B test. Let's A/B test
Right.
against the control.
I would also add to that is understanding the market itself, because if you're just simply giving sales or discounts, the only criteria for buying that they are offering is still based on price, and they're not focusing on the actual value add that's in there to support it. So the first thing they do is the easy one is get rid of the only objection that's there is price, and that's the only criteria. So you're going to have to add new criteria, back it on why it's important, give the data to support why that criteria is the most important and how it's achieved success for the other clients who've already used that. And then that'll give it a lot more credibility as well, positioning it that way. And then when you go in, now you're getting, before they get to price, giving a discount should be, I think, should be the last thing that a marketing company or an advertising company should ever be allowed to do before you fire them.
If they're telling you discount, I mean, for us, very often we're telling them increase your prices, and you can't. Messaging's there, right? I'm sure you know it, right? With storytelling.
And study those people to find out what types of value, Rod, are going to give them that extra piece that no one else is. That's how you differentiate yourself, not by price, by the amount of value and the education to make sure it makes sense.
You write a core story about why storytelling is more effective than discounts?
We should. We should. Thank you, Jerry.
I think that's the brilliance of core story, right? The deployment of it is infinite.
Mhm.
Pick an audience, find the pain, use the data to create context to change their mind. And you reset all of the buying criteria in your favor by educating them. And it can work you're going to an agency. They're not convinced. They think discounting's better. Use a core story to educate, highlight the pain, reset the buying criteria, rinse and repeat, go to the next customer. So that's why the principles of this are so genius, because you can take it place to place to place to place to create an unfair advantage for yourself.
Jerry also trains with us, just so you know. He's not just some random man speaking.
We took the passcode off and he showed up.
I did have to find the link. That is true.
For me, so often sales reps look at me and they just go, you got to be kidding me. There's no way I'm going to talk about this. And I go, oh, really? That's why I called out Jim Shelton on the first day, because he had 5 sales reps that said, Amanda, this isn't going to work. Why would I talk about all this stuff? I just want to sell At the times he was selling bathroom fans. Why do I want to educate builders about the 5 critical components of home improvement and what you're missing out on? And then I went, okay, really? Watch me. I came back the next week and had 3 leads for them, and they looked at me with their jaw dropped. They're like, you don't even know about our product. I'm like, I used the core story you bought from me. It was hilarious.
Who else has a question too?
Thank you so much.
How long are the sessions and how many of them are there?
Yeah, it's every Monday starting September 18th, and there's 8 sessions. What we're doing, we used to do 2-hour blocks, and I have now brought it down to just 1-hour block. But then I'm keeping it open for the half an hour after. So it's actually in total 90 minutes, because that half an hour is then open for Q&A and building and getting feedback from everybody. So it's a very open mind, every week for those 30 minutes to allow everyone to be able to test their material with the group.
Do you have a minimum or maximum number of people on each of these boot camps or groups or whatever you want to call them?
Yes. Once we get to above 15 companies in a cohort, then we split it up into 2 cohorts. So I like to keep them small.
Thank you.
A lot more feedback for everybody. And then everybody gets to know one another, and it's fun.
And if you have people that work in the same company, do they both pay, or is it one person pays and then 2 people sit on the call, or?
Yes, you are actually allowed up to 5 people on the call from a company.
And is the stuff going to be pretty much what we've covered already in the last 2 days, or how much new material is coming in over those 8 weeks?
So the first week is building out the buyer's guide much deeper. That is a concept of it, but it's just diving deeper and getting better at it the first session. Then we go all into market data, which I haven't explained at all. And then breaking down the whole core story into a mind map. So you can just easily put, whether you have a new marketplace or a new product, you'll know how to craft core stories and take in and out what you need and what you don't need. So that's something that's just like a one-sheeter that you can refer to the next decade and beyond. And then we'll do the stadium pitch contest. Now that you've had weeks of working on what that education would look like based on the market data, based on what you've been testing in the market. And then we'll dive deeper into Dream 100. Are you clear on your list? Very often people are still trying to figure out what their list is. And it's really just saying, commit to something and let's start. And then where does that look? I'll show, it depends on the group, what people are stronger in and what they need more work on. Whether we work on, if people want to hear more about cold calling, if people want to hear more about direct mail, if people want to hear more about social selling, people want to hear more about website or ads. So I'll just cater to the group and what the group's needs are as far as.
I will be signing up. It would be helpful if I could do that tomorrow morning.
Another live clip from our virtual event. Now is your opportunity to join the Ultimate Sales Machine Bootcamp, and it's almost up. We're nearly there. So make sure that you visit usm.chetholmes.com/bootcamp. That's USM, like Ultimate Sales Machine, usm.chetholmes.com/bootcamp to secure your seat. Question: would you like to get up to 9 times more clients from the same moves you're already making? Would you like to understand a step-by-step process that has assisted 250,000 businesses to grow? Would you like to see how that proven timeless process gets adapted when AI is involved? Have you tried to deploy a Dream 100 and you missed the momentum or never quite reached the potential you knew you could? Now is your chance to make that change. The trajectory of your life can be altered and has been altered by those that have come to this boot camp. Somebody that buys a course, only 3% of them actually finish. That's really pathetic. That's not even tracking actual results. It's just attendance. So for our boot camp, 42% of our past attendees have generated leads within 30 days learning what they learned. So if you need more leads, this is the place to be. And 30% of them have generated more sales within the first 30 days using what they learned. It is a jump start. It's only 1 hour a week if you want. And then there's an additional 30 minutes open for Q&A and practice. So everything that you're building and you're creating, you can test with the group and get live feedback. I would love to see you there. usm.chetholmes.com/bootcamp.